Is that not on? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? I might have to say my intro again. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Um, I am talking. All right. Scott says 5x5. Thank you, Salt Miss, for the 5x5. That is super awesome. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. My name is Fernando, God's Prepared Warrior. If you're new to the channel, this channel is all about preparedness in the physical and spiritual way. And so I am glad that you guys are here with me tonight. So thank you for jumping in here. Who's in here? I see Salt Miss. Thank you, Salt Miss, for being here tonight. Um, let's see. Scott Hummer is here. Ohio Valley Prepping. Thank you for joining my live. It's good to see you, my friend. And Casper Troy is in the house. Awesome. It says, I'm looking for something, and your channel caught my attention as I wear the armor of God. Amen, brother. Carry a sword and threw down my shield to rush in the offensive of good versus evil. Awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight, Casper. I am so glad that you are here with us. Glenn is in the house. Glenn is actually canning tonight, so he's listening from afar. And so, Glenn, welcome. Thank you for joining the live tonight. I am super excited to be with all you guys here on YouTube and all of my friends over here on TikTok. And so, these guys, White Willow is in the house over here. Hey, my friend, good to see you. So it's going to be a super awesome show tonight, guys, because if you've been paying attention to the news, you probably already know where I'm going. If you know me enough, because my job is really simple here. My job is to help all of you navigate all of this mess that we're actually having to live through. And I would rather do that together with you guys because that's just me. That's my nature. I like being around people. I like doing things with other people. I don't like doing things by myself. It's like me and my wife. I can't eat dinner or lunch without her. It just feels weird. I'm just a people person, and everywhere I go, I make friends and all that good stuff. So thank you guys for joining the channel tonight. So there's a first segment that I do is all about the channel news, and I like to share this part of the channel because you guys, all of you guys that are here watching tonight, make this channel, right? I'm just a talking head, and you guys like to be on here. Hey, thank you for the heart, guys. Appreciate that. You guys like to be here, and you guys in the community, you guys are commenting all the time. You're talking amongst each other. Salt Miss actually has some questions for you today that we're going to be looking at a certain part of this of the one of the segments tonight. So be ready for that because we're wanting to create conversation, right? And things. So the first part of tonight is the channel news because you guys make this channel what it is. And so I just want to thank you guys ahead of time. So YouTube, we're sitting at 948 subscribers on YouTube, and that's pretty awesome. I did say we were going to sit in the 900s for a little while, and we've only gained one new subscriber. And this week, which was probably Casper. So thank you guys for being a part of the YouTube community. I really love coming out here and talking with you guys on YouTube and on TikTok. So TikTok, we're sitting at 3,892 subscribers on TikTok. So you guys are killing it over here. Keep hitting that screen so we can get more family in here. So that's we're up 5 new family members over here on TikTok. Facebook, we remain the same at 181, and the Facebook community group page is still sitting at 31. So there's a little bit of there's not any movement there at all. but I've been putting some new things in the community group page. So if you haven't found us on Facebook, look for us, God's Prepared Warrior on Facebook. You can find our page there. If you go to the groups tab, you can find God's Prepared Warrior Community. That's where I throw other videos in there that you don't see on YouTube or on TikTok. So I'm using that community group. If if you're around YouTube a lot of YouTubers will have their YouTube page, and then they'll have Patreon, or they'll have all these other things where they throw things. You got to pay for those things, but what I'm doing is I'm using the community page for that kind of stuff. Why would I want to charge you for that stuff? So join the community page. You're going to see personal stuff in there. You're going to see different content that you're going to see than on YouTube and on the regular Facebook page. So go over there and like the channel. So we're sitting there, we're remaining there the same on Facebook. On X, we have gained one new family member over on X. We're sitting at 1,064 over on X, and Instagram, we're sitting at 1,065. We're up 8. So total this week, we have 50 new family members that joined the community, which is pretty awesome. So guys, thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing and doing all the things that you do, because you're the ones that's making this channel what it is. And so I'm thankful for all of you doing that. So make sure you check out those links. If you're saying, Fernando, I don't know where all your links are, if you find me on YouTube and you look at any one of my videos, even the live tonight, in the description are all the links to me, right? My email is on there. You want to shoot me an email. I read everybody's comments. All the information is in the description on my YouTube channel. So make sure you're following along there. Aaron, welcome in tonight. Thank you for joining us. And so I'm excited for you guys that just do all of that stuff. I can't thank you enough. So thank you for helping to grow the channel. It's pretty awesome. Just a couple of news things that I shared last week that maybe if you weren't here last week that I talked about. I am planning a bug out weekend, and if you would like to come camping with me here in Texas, you need to shoot me an email at godspreparedwarrior@gmail.com and say, Fernando, I want to do that. We're going to be camping the week of Thanksgiving that weekend in 2026. So I am working on planning that event, and I'm going to be pulling together a few friends here pretty soon that are going to help me put it together. It's going to be a fun weekend of camping, fellowshipping together, just conversations at around the fire and stories. And then we're going to learn all about survival. And so during the day, we're going to have classes. I'm going to have friends that are going to speak about survival, things like that. So it's going to be a fun time. Make sure that you want to attend. You shoot me an email, because I'm putting a list together. And at one point, I'm gonna stop bringing in people, because we're still working on the place and how many people can show up. So get in early on that. Send me an email at godspreparedwarrior at gmail.com, and that way we can add you to the list and give you communication from there. So make sure you do that. And also, we're starting a prayer team that's going to meet once a month. And we just want to pray for people. We want to pray for things in your area. We want to pray for our world. We want to pray for our nation. And we just want to get together and do that thing. So if you want to be a part of that, shoot me an email. Say, Fernando, I want to be part of the prayer team. And we'll meet once a month via Zoom or Meetup or something like that. And we'll get together and pray together. I think that's going to be a fun time. So that's in the works. So those are the two things I wanted to share with you today. So just kind of make note of that. If you want to participate in those two things, shoot me an email. You can also find my email on my YouTube page. And I think you can see it there too in TikTok. If not, go to YouTube. That's where you're going to find all that stuff there. thank you guys for joining me over here on TikTok. Thank you for the gifts that you guys are giving. Thank you for the rose, code red. Thank you for that, my friend. Appreciate that. Awesome. All right, so let's look at some things in the news. I always share things that are happening in the news, because if you follow me enough, you know that I always say stay vigilant, stay prepared, and the stay vigilant part for me is staying vigilant to what is happening in our world, because when we know what's happening, we know kind of how to react when things happen. So if you go to my YouTube page for the live tonight, you're going to find all these links in here if you want to go and check that out. If you joined early, I kind of added them right before we came on. You might have to refresh just so that you can see the links if you want to follow along. All right, so this was in the BBC was reporting this today. It says that the FBI is offering $50,000 reward in a hunt for the suspect in the deadly Brown University shooting. So over the weekend, there was a shooter that went to Brown University and began shooting, and well, his intent was to take people out, and so he did that, and then he got away. And so nobody knows who this person is. There's some sketchy video because there wasn't that many cameras, from what I understand. So they have put up a reward today of $50,000 for any information leading to the arrest of the person of interest that they have. They did take somebody into custody, but then they let that person go because that they were not that person. So this is something to just kind of watch and be aware of, because this investigation is ongoing, and let's continue to pray for these people that were hurt and those who lost their lives to this senseless act that is happening here in this place. So keep that in prayer. Keep those families in prayer, and those students that were just trying to take their test so they can go to the next thing. So let's keep them in prayer too as well. The next one is coming from ABC News. It says the federal trial begins for the Milwaukee judge accused of helping undocumented man evade arrest. This was earlier during the year, and so now she is coming up for trial, and she will start. The trial actually started today for the judge accused of helping a person who was there. They were trying to apprehend, evade arrest. So I think her name is Hannah Dugan. Yeah, she was the judge there in Milwaukee, and so her trial is coming up, and they're going to be pretty sure they're going to be prosecuting her for that. So, I mean, it says here that prosecutors have told the court they expect to have 25 to 28 witnesses of this judge doing what she did. So, so it's something to be watchful for. I mean, it was something that was happening early on, and we all sat and all, right? I think I even talked about it in one of my lives where, it's like, what we were lost in thought, is how I will say it, of why this judge would go against everything she's supposed to be doing, right? I mean, I understand. I totally understand. I have friends who have been personally affected by being picked up in the streets, and I know another family that has been affected by that too as well, and it's devastating. I get it, and so we're praying for all of those that are are being ripped from, their homes, their families, and being sent back. So let's keep all of this in prayer, and let's ask God to help in this matter, because it's devastating when you look at it. There's the part that says, yeah, you got to go back because you should have taken care of this, and then there's the part of the human part of we're ripping these families apart now. So it's something to think about and pray about. All right. The next one is actually coming from the White House. This is a White House documentation from the president, and this happened actually today. I think they actually went live with him. He actually put out today that fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction, and that they put policy in place, to bring out to the light that fentanyl is closer to a chemical weapon than it is a narcotic. And so if you read this document, it's from the White House, and it gives you what is happening. They're telling you how they're gonna implement this plan, how the agencies are gonna work together to prosecute those that are bringing that in, those that are selling it, and trafficking it, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this was pretty neat, because you can see in this publication how it actually comes out. It gives you all of the United States codes that it's under, where you can find it, and things like that. But it goes into depth of the what all agencies are working together to look at this document, or look at this situation, and for all people, or all parts of government that are working in to get fentanyl out of our United States. And so I put this in there so that you can see it. But Donald Trump came out live today. I didn't get to watch it, but he came out live talking about this. And so I thought I would post this publication here for all of you to see. And it's just all about designating fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. So that way you guys can check that out too as well. On military.com, there is a report here that says an attacker who killed U.S. troops in Syria was a recent recruit to security forces, officials say. So this is coming out of Beirut. A man who carried out an attack in Syria and killed 3 U.S. citizens had joined Syria's security forces as a base security guard 2 months earlier, and was recently reassigned amid suspicions that he might be affiliated with the Islamic State group, a Syrian official told the Associated Press on Sunday. Now, the attack Saturday in the Syrian desert near the historic city killed 2 U.S. service members and 1 American civilian, who wounded 3 others. He also wounded 3 members of the Syrian security forces who clashed with the gunmen. So this is showing us all of the information coming out with that. This kind of slipped under the radar for me. I didn't actually see this until today, that this happened over the weekend. So they are sharing this information with us. Let's keep those families in prayer for those servicemen who lost their lives because of this crazy person right here. Something to pray for. Something to pray for. We need to be praying. The BBC is also reporting that the FBI foils a New Year's Eve terror plot across Southern California. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there was a group of people that were plotting to, they were plotting a New Year's Eve terror plot, and they wanted to blow things up. So these guys were members of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, it's an offshoot of the pro-Palestinian anti-government group, and they have been arrested on suspicion of planning a coordinated bombing attack in at least 5 locations across Southern California. The FBI and LA law enforcement said today. So this is an ongoing thing, and this is actually part about what we're going to talk about tonight that for all of us to be vigilant about. So that happened. Um, let's keep our northern west coast in prayer, because heavy rain and wind is returning to western Washington. Rising flood concerns once again. So they were already flooded out, and here comes more rain. So let's keep them in prayer, because not only that, not only are they facing that, but there is a flash flood warning that for the area because the Washington Green River levee failed, and so not only do they have the rain coming in, they have this failed levee, and they're warning them about this causing more flooding concerns. So let's keep these folks in prayer. I think it's important that we do that because, you know, I will say I know from what I've seen happening here in Texas, you know, because I was on the ground after the floods in Kerrville. Our ministry, you know, kind of helped out in that effort. And so water is very devastating, especially when it's in high volume. And so, yeah, you know, if you were able to see what I saw and how high and wide this water came through, you know, it was really devastating. So let's keep these folks in prayer. I think that's important to keep them in prayer, that God would keep them safe. NPR is reporting that Australia announces now new strict gun laws. And this is after the event that has happened this weekend in the town of Bondi. I think it was called Bondi, where these gunmen came out on the first day of Hanukkah and began to shoot and kill people in the area as they were celebrating. Thankfully, they were both taken out. Well, I know one was taken out. I know that another one was stopped by somebody that was there attending the festival, and so that man's bravery saved a lot of people. So let's keep all of that in prayer. I think that's important. A lot of people lost their lives there, and a lot of people were also injured. And you know, it's crazy because there was only like 4 policemen for this huge area, and there was a lot of things left open. And then Australia has strict gun laws, and so nobody carries a gun there. And these people were just really sitting ducks. And I mean, it wasn't just adults that were hurt or killed; it was children also. And yeah, um, yeah, it's, we just got to pray for these guys. Um, yeah, they're not going to see 40 virgins or whatever they think they're going to see. So yeah, let's keep those folks in prayer. I think that's just so important. All right, so let's go to our topic of discussion for tonight. I want to talk to you guys about something, and I think it's important. And if you know me enough, you know that Fernando's going to talk about 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 situational awareness, and I you know I probably said it a lot in some of my videos that, you know, I'm always going to talk about this because it's important. And I tell you this much. So I want to start with this story first that happened today at work. So my boss came and sat with us at work. I have a few friends that sit with me at work, and I always sit in a one particular spot in the break room, and I sit in that spot because I have view of both doors, right? And I never move from that spot. Every every day when I go to lunch, I sit in that spot if nobody has taken that spot, and most of the time it's just me in that spot. But because I'm used to sitting in a particular way wherever I go, then I'm able to see who's coming in, and I really don't have a lot of things happening behind me, right? And this is situational awareness. And so today at lunch, my boss comes in and he says, "Hey, Fernando, I'm not gonna be able to sit in my normal spot because somebody's sitting there, so I'm gonna have my back to the doors. Can you watch my back while I sit here with you guys and eat lunch?" Because he knows me, and I thought that was just so funny, because that is situational awareness, and so I practice it wherever I go. And so tonight, I there I go with kind of wanna again. I want to dig a little deeper tonight, and I want to share some things with you that I thought about, um, you know, um, today on this topic. And so, I think it's important. So let's look at this tonight. So I titled this tonight, Staying Vigilant in a Season of Distraction, because this morning's prepping tip was about this. And so I thought I would take this subject and kind of expand on it more than I was able to in the video I did this morning. So check that video out later on when you have a chance. But today I want us to look at this because I think it's important because of what has happened, right? Over the weekend, right? We saw violence. We woke up to violence, right? Seeing violence erupt, not just here where we are, but even in other parts of the world, right? We know that we had this thing happening at the university here, and then of course what happened over in Australia. And I think it's important for us as God's prepared warriors to look at these things, right? First, to pray for those affected, to lift them up to the Lord, to pray for those who might have lost loved ones, and lift them up to the Lord, right? For peace and strength through that situation or that time of loss. I think that's important. Something that we should do as God's prepared warriors, and that's what I do when I see things happening like that, right? But I think that these incidents remind us that we are living in a time where situational awareness is no longer optional. I really believe that we as people need to take situational awareness, and it needs to become part of who we are and what we do, right? um um I just think that it's important, um you know for that. um Thank you. My mill passed away, and we had her funeral that weekend. Took a break. Yeah, we missed you, Code Red. Sorry, sorry to hear that. Praying for you. Going to add you to our prayer list. Um, yeah, yeah. So, um, we need to be aware of these things that are happening around us. So I want to dig into this tonight, right? Because we're approaching Christmas, right? As Christmas comes, we enter the season of joy, right? Christmas is, I think, you know, Christmas has always been one of my favorite holidays, um, because it has a lot of my favorites, right? It's the food, and it's all the sweets, and then it's gifts, right? And then, as an adult, I like to give gifts, and see, my family members open the gifts that I give. I just love to see that excitement, that smile, that joy that I always had when I was a kid, right? So we know that we're moving into this season, and what do we see, right? What do we see in this season? And I saw it today, on my drive home as I was talking to my daughter. I'm looking at the businesses along the highway, and I was telling her today. I said, "Man, there's a lot of people out, right? We're going to see crowded stores during this time, right? There's going to be more people um, shopping, right? So much so that some of the stores here where I live, they actually extend their open time and their closing time, and they stay open late so that they can maximize their sales margins and things like that for all the things that they sell, right? So we're going to see crowded stores. We're going to see crowded restaurants, right? One of the treats that we like to do is on Friday is go out to eat, and it's becoming even more difficult now because there is a lot of people that are actually doing that same thing, and so restaurants are full, right? Sometimes you have to wait for a table. Grocery stores are full, right? People are getting ready for the next meal, right? For Christmas, right? Um, they're getting ready for that meal. They're stocking up from what they took the hit on in November for Thanksgiving, right? That's why you should be prepared. That's all I gotta say about that. But grocery stores are going to be packed, right? So we're going to see an influx of people there. Lines, for the cash registers are going to be long. We're going to see church events happening, uh, events at schools, right? Our kids are going to have, maybe a concert, a choir concert. They're maybe going to have, plays that they're going to perform, for the holiday, right? So we're going to see, um, church events and school events just kind of, happen more than often, right? And then, we're going to have our family gatherings, right? People are going to get together with family. And then what does that mean? That means that travel is going to be heightened over this holiday, right? People are going to run to the airports to travel home or to travel to visit family. Airports are going to be busy. Um, Lines are going to be long. You're going to have to go earlier, to check in and do all that kind of stuff. Bus stations are going to be the same, right? Train stations are going to be the same. We have a train station here where I live, and never been on a train, but Amtrak is here, and people travel on train. And then while all of that is happening, right? Um, there are distractions everywhere, right? That doesn't include our cell phone, which is kind of like our third arm. The kids that we have that we bring with us. There's just a lot of distractions happening everywhere in all of these places, right? And so tonight, I just I'm not here to stir up fear. I'm here to help you be aware, and to sharpen that discernment, of situational awareness, right? We're here to see, to look at what happened over the weekend and to see what we can learn from that, if that happens here, right? So First Peter 5:8, one of my favorite verses, says, "Be sober minded, be watchful." Right. This is where I get, stay vigilant from. I get it from this verse, right? Be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. This verse applies spiritually, and it also applies practically, right? So let's set the tone. As God's prepared warriors, right? We do not panic. We don't panic. We prepare. That's what we do, right? Why? Because we're vigilant, right? Stay vigilant, stay prepared. You hear that a lot from me, right? We trust in God, right? But trust does not cancel responsibility, right? Jesus himself warned his disciples to be wise, to be alert, to be discerning, and faith does not mean blindness. Faith means walking with eyes open and a heart anchored to God, right? This is especially is so important during the holiday, right? When people are rushed, right? This is the distraction. People are rushed, right? So that means that there's going to be people on the road. There's going to be people distracted, not really paying attention. There's going to be a heightened criminal activity in your area. There's going to be bad actors, right? Looking for easy opportunities to gain, right? So preparedness is not paranoia, right? Preparedness is stewardship. And I think that is just so important for us as God's prepared warriors to understand that, we prepare not out of fear, but out of stewardship. This is something we have to do, right? Yes, God is the one who provides for us, but we also have to work, right? God gives us, the ability to do that, right? And the Bible says if we don't work, we don't eat, right? And I ain't gonna miss a meal, so even if poop hits the fan, Fernando's still gonna eat. Yeah. So how do let me share something that I read in one of my comments today. Okay, and this kind of this topic tonight kind of revolves around this comment that was left on one of my videos, right? Well, it was the video I posted this morning. That's why I say go back and watch. So I want to share this comment. I'm not going to share the name of the person, but this person says there is a lot of distraction thefts happening while people shop. This is what this person says. They say these crimes often involve 2 or 3 people working together. One distracts or creates a scene, and while the other steals from a purse or your pocket. This person says, I recently experienced this at my grocery store. While one person caused the distraction, another repeatedly bumped into me from behind. Why? Because they were looking on what they could take from her. Thankfully, my items were secure, but it was a clear attempt. Now, in the full story, she talks about how the one lady just started screaming and saying that she was a Karen because the question that she was asked, she didn't answer it. And so this one person just started screaming, calling her a Karen, making a scene. The other girl was bumping her and really trying, kind of like a frisk, right? If you've ever been frisked by the cops, right? They're looking for weapons on you. I used to do this when I worked in the prison. And so, they're looking for weapons. And so that's kind of what this person was doing. So all of her things were secured. That person couldn't get to her things. But guys, this is important because this is literally happening, right? Distraction crimes are increasing nationwide. Why? Because of the amount of people who are flooding the stores preparing for the holiday, right? Not saying the holiday is a bad thing. What I'm saying is criminals are coming out of the woodwork because they're wanting to get things easily, right? So these distraction crimes are increasing nationwide, especially during the holiday season, and it's there's not a single person or group that is doing it. It's just bad people, right? So I will tell you that we have to recognize these behavior patterns that are happening. When you get off your car, hopefully before you get off your car, as you were parking, you are actually scanning the area yourself, right? Did you notice the people that were just sitting in their car? Did you notice the cars parked next to you, right and left? Were there persons sitting in there? What are they doing? Do you plan to turn your vehicle off and get off the car while these people are parked there? Especially if it's a van, right? Could be pulled into that van. So criminals are actually relying on emotional reactions because they want to cause confusion, and they're usually working in pairs, and the other persons have their own job to do in that situation to take things from you, right? They're going to create noise, they're going to create embarrassment, and they're going to also create social pressure, right? So they want you to be frustrated. They want you to be apologizing, and they want you to they want your attention to be pulled away so that they can take things away from you, right? So that's why emotional control is a preparedness skill. What do you guys think about that? Staying emotionally grounded helps you to think through this process, right? Let's see. OVP says there is currently an aerial refueler off the coast of Venezuela. Yes, there actually is. Code Red says thanks. She was ready to go. Oh, that's your family member. Okay, yeah, we're gonna be praying for that. Code Red. Yeah. So they're gonna cause this confusion, and it's important for you guys to stay in emotional control, right? So what are some lessons that we can learn, right? Distractions are a weapon. Okay, think about this. Distractions are the weapon, right? Someone bumping into you, that's a weapon. They're trying to steal your wallet, trying to steal the watch right off your arm, right? And the bump is the distraction. It is the tool that takes your guard off, because you're going to apologize, and your mind is then going to be distracted to something else than from what the original thing was, right? So that is the distraction. Another distraction is, dropping something at your feet. They may drop something at your feet. What are you going to do? You're going to be polite, and you're going to bend over and pick it up. And while you're doing that, they're going to slam you on the back and knock you to the ground and take your thing. Pay attention to that thing, right? People are going to use that against you. Use your niceness, your morals that you've been taught, your good morals you've been taught by your family. They're going to use those things against you. So pay attention to that, right? They might start an argument, right? Somebody might just automatically out of the blue just come out and, hey, I need some help. They're holding a gas can. I just need $1 to fill this up, and really they're running to take your money. The goal is the same. It is to divert your attention so that they can take advantage of you. Your situational awareness, guys, has to be super, super high. Maintain, second lesson is maintain that physical awareness, right? Keep your bags zipped up. I'm telling this all the time, right? I'm not gonna call her out. I'm just gonna say, put all your stuff in your purse, right? Don't leave things out. Close it. Leave it zipped up, because this is the time when people can just bump you, stick your hand in your purse, and take your wallet, take your cards, take whatever cash you have laying in there. You should, ladies, you should carry your purses and whatever your backpack or whatever in front of your body in crowds. Keep that in the front, right? Um, keep your wallets, guys, in your front pocket, right? Don't keep them in the back pocket, because they can be stolen straight out of your pocket, right? Be aware of who's behind you, not just of the people in front of you, right? I, you know, keep your head on a swivel is a real thing, right? I always have a tendency to turn around and look behind me, right? I want to know who's there. And I do this even when I'm driving my vehicle. I have 1, 2, 3 mirrors. Plus, I turn my head to see my blind spots, right? And I utilize all of that so that I know, in case there's something happening in front of me, I know which way to turn the vehicle so that I can avoid whatever's happening. It's the same thing when you're walking to the store or out of the store, right? They're wanting to divert your attention, so pay attention. Um, you know, be aware of who's behind you. I think that's so important. I think we don't even think about that, right? This is especially critical in parking lots, in store entrances, because that can happen at the entrance, right? It can also happen in checkout lines. Somebody can be behind you and they pull your wallet out of your back pocket and you didn't even know, right? So pay attention. I think the third lesson from this is to stay calm under pressure, right? Criminals often escalate emotionally, right? They do that to intimidate you, they do that to shame you, they do it to confuse you. And so a calm, grounded presence that you can have, right, disrupts their plan, right? And I think that's important. It's like I said, staying calm is the best way to be, right? Staying grounded, it disrupts their plan, right? You know, Second Timothy 1:7 is one of my favorite verses. It says, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind, right? A sound mind wins in these moments. Having that sound mind, not being interrupted or intimidated, not being, taking that thing that's happening, right? Like our one of our family commented, right? The one lady was yelling and screaming. She was wanting to direct her from her things so that they could take advantage of her, but she stayed calm throughout all of that. And so that is the thing that wins every time. A sound mind wins every time in these moments, right? I think that's important. So, the Christmas season, we're going to see increased risk, increase things like that, right? Let's be honest, right? Christmas brings large crowds. It does. It brings large crowds. Um, you know, uh, you know, Christmas season brings church events, school events, public celebrations. Sometimes there's like a Christmas parade happening, usually in small towns. Maybe it's the lighting of Christmas lights in a neighborhood, and people come out to it, and and they have, Strong Tower Coffee out there, selling coffee. That's my business. And things like that, right? So, public celebrations are always happening during the Christmas season, right? Outreach events are happening. Just people being generous, right? I know last year we took the grandkids. They were like, they told Mrs. G, they're like, can we go give blankets and beanies and scarves to the homeless people, and that's what we did. And so, even at that, we needed to have situational awareness about us wherever we went, because people just kind of saw that we were giving things away, and they kind of overcrowded us at some point. So the Christmas season brings just even those that are open hearted with generosity to help, to give back. And so we still have to be situationally aware even during those times, right? And these are all beautiful things, right? I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with those things, but they are actually soft targets, just like we saw the weekend, right? What happened in Australia. It becomes a soft target, right? Um, and this does not mean that we just stop gathering, right? It means that we prepare wisely. We're ready for the situation, right? We should ask ourselves, you know, do I know my exits? And am I aware of, in case something happens in this place, in this building, do I know how to get out of it, right? Um, I'm not saying you should be in your basement with, under a hanging light, that swings back and forth, and that's the only light in the basement, and you have this schematic of, the event center where you're going to be at. No, it's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, as you come into the building, know where those exits are, right? Do you know them, right? The next question you should ask is, am I aware of unusual behavior? Do I see things happening? Am I spiritually prepared? This is the next one. Am I spiritually prepared to respond calmly under stress? And I think that is an important thing that we need to you know um, check ourselves in that way, right? Ask those questions, because prepared warriors, protect their peace, and they don't disturb it, right? It's not anything that we do. Discernment. Let's talk about discernment. I think discernment is a gift, and it's important, right? Discernment is not suspicion. Discernment is wisdom, right? Given to us from the Lord, right? The Bible says that if you lack wisdom, you should ask God for it, because He gives it freely, right? Um, and the Holy Spirit, um, because of this wisdom, this discernment, that we ask God for, the Holy Spirit, um, you know, um, moves us in a way where we might even feel unease about where we are, right? And it's the Holy Spirit's way of saying, "Hey, pay attention, stay vigilant," right? A lot of times there's this thing that we have within us, right? That maybe alarm bells go off, and our mind is like, man, this is kind of sketchy right now, right? Your gut feeling, right? Listen to that. I mean, that actually is discernment, right? um, you know, the Holy Spirit nudges us with a sense to move, right? Or to reposition ourselves, or to, what, let's balance, right? So don't ignore that, because that is the Holy Spirit, um, you know, giving you this wisdom to, yeah, this is probably not the right place, right? Jesus said, in the Bible, Jesus says, my sheep hear my voice, and that voice might be telling you to leave now, right? That voice might be telling you, pay attention. That voice might be telling you something, just isn't right here, right? So preparedness also includes listening, right? Listening to the still voice of God, the Holy Spirit just kind of nudging us in a direction to where we need to pay attention to what's happening, right? So make sure that you're listening because that's important. I hope Salt Miss has asked the questions in the chat. I wanted to spend the last few minutes if you guys were able to um, look at those questions. One of them, was have you noticed increased distractions in your where you are, right? Have you seen distracting attempts or tactics in your area? I think that's important for us to look at. Hey, Jamie, thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate that. We need to ask ourselves these questions. Am I seeing, because I'm seeing all of these people now that we're, coming to Christmas, we're going to see the more people in all the stores, and we need to stay situationally aware, and, we got to do all of our things, right? Zip up your purse, ladies, guys, put your wallet in your front pocket, because the pickpockets are out there and they're already starting. And we had this confession in our video today of what is happening and what was tried to happen to one of our viewers. And I think it's important for us to know that whenever we leave the house now during this time, it's important for us to really, really pay attention to what's happening out there. What are some of the things that you guys are doing? What are some things? Let me see what you guys are saying over here. Someone says, guys, how has your spiritual readiness helped you to stay calm in intense situations? How Diggity Dog, welcome tonight, guy. He says it's the plot to Evan Almighty happening in Washington. Yeah, I believe it. I totally believe it. Yeah. So I've been asking. Okay, my little thingy is not going up. I don't know why it's not moving. OVP says I've seen everything. I've seen everything. Years of training in the casino industry. I bet you have, my friend. I bet you have. Yeah. So I think, guys, that it's so important for us to just kind of look at what's happened over the weekend. And I think that, there's just no longer a time for us to not think about situational awareness, because I think that needs to be part of our EDC, our everyday carry, is practicing that situational awareness everywhere we go. So, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Don't forget that every Monday, if you're new to the channel, every Monday we go live at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'd love for you to be part of the community. So like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And, we want you to be here with us. And we look forward to seeing all of you here back again next Monday. Follow all of my social media so you know what's happening. If you're wanting to go camping in 2026 for Bug Out Weekend, send me an email. Let me know. Fernando, I want to do that. If you live in Texas, great. If you're traveling, OVP says he's going to come all the way down from Ohio. He's going to pick up Brule with him, and they're going to come camping. Hey, if you want to do that, go for it. It's going to be fun. So send me an email. If you want to be part of our prayer team that we're starting, send me an email too saying, Fernando, I want to be part of the prayer team. And we're going to meet once a month. And we're going to take all of these things that are coming out in my comments of people who say, Fernando, I love your channel. This is a comment. I'm telling you, Fernando, I love your channel, but I live in my car and it's hard for me to prepare. I do have a few things, but because I live in my car, it's hard for me to prepare. And so it is that comment that kind of the Lord used to help start this prayer team. And I think it's so important because there are a lot of people out there who want to prepare, who want to be ready, but it's just hard for them. And so I think it's important for us to pray for them. So if you want to be part of that prayer team, let me know. I think that that's going to be fun. We're going to get together once a month and we're going to look at all the things that are happening. Jamie Wyatt over on TikTok says, I taught my kids to play a game of who looks like they could be a victim or a potential enemy. That's a pretty cool game. I would really like to play that game myself. Hey, Renee, thank you for joining my live tonight. Thank you, Jamie, for that comment. That's pretty cool. I'm glad you taught your children. That's important. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing you again next Monday, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And don't forget, follow my YouTube channel. All of you over here on TikTok, if you haven't done that, go over to YouTube, find me out there on God's Prepared Warrior. And you'll be able to see all of my social media links on any of my videos. Make sure you're following me on social media. Send me a message and say, hey, Fernando, I was on your live and now I'm following you on Facebook or I'm following you on Instagram. That would be cool because I'm going to answer you. All right, guys, have a great night. I thank you for joining me. And remember, stay vigilant, stay prepared. And I am praying for all of you guys. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday. God bless.